All right, everybody, welcome to the
Hello,
show.
hello. Yes,
We
welcome.
are, it's interesting because I'm in Kapolei. Adrian, where are you?
Pebble Beach.
Have a beach. And Fred, where do we find you?
Up Kula Mountain.
Up in Kula Mountain. So I have to cool my room down with the air conditioner, but you just open the front door, right? To cool
Yeah,
down.
it's 78 every day.
Nice. All
Perfect
right.
weather. Never, don't need air conditioning. Don't need heater.
Don't need heater. So yeah, that's the perfect. It's the main reason why people move to Hawaii or save up all their lives to come visit for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody loves, they want to come to Aloha and experience the weather. So, Adrian, who's our guest on our show today?
So we are so honored to have Fred Haywood. As you can see the banner below, you have his contact information. He has written a memoir, Racing with Aloha. He grew up on Maui and he swam with Mark Spitz, surfed with Jerry Lopez, and became a champion windsurfer, turning the eyes of the world to Maui when windsurfing was in its heyday.
Yeah.
So
He's Maui's most successful realtor. I'll read the second one. Popular teacher for realtors, recent real memoir again, Racing with Aloha. Please welcome our guest, Fred Haywood. Fred, is that your full name? Is that your full given name? Or
Yeah, Fred William Haywood. When I was born, my dad registered a name and he said, Fred Haywood. And the guy said, oh, not Frederick. He goes, no, Fred, like my dog.
Yeah.
So I was Fred. I got more dog friends named Fred than people.
Yeah. And well, welcome to the show. And we just had you on our radio show. That was fun, and we got to know you and awesome life that you've lived and have yet to live. Because you're good for at least another 30, 40 years, right?
I think so,
Yeah.
Got plenty of time for shed or stoke.
So, Adrian, you want to start us off with the question?
Sure. So Fred, you just recently completed this memoir, Racing with Aloha. What inspired you to write this?
When I was 15, I took a trip across the U.S. with Suichi Sakamoto. Remember the 3-year swim club, the coach?
Yeah.
And I took a trip across with him to the mainland for 50 days on a Greyhound bus, $99 return trip from San Francisco to New York, $99, cheap. Anyway, the first meet we swam with a team from Hawaii was in Foothill College, and I got a tap on my shoulder, and I turned around and this kid said, are you from Hawaii? And I said, yeah, my name is Fred. What's yours? He said, Mark Spitz. I said, really? And then I saw him swim, and I came back to my coach on Maui after the trip and told him, actually, I was on the Big Island swimming in a raft pool that was in Kauai Harbor, moored. I would swim out to the pool at 4:30 in the morning and hang a lantern on one side. The coach had the car lights shining on the other wall. So I'd swim backstroke one way, freestyle one way. And they say, hey, coach, there's this kid named Mark Spitz that's going to kick butt on the whole world in swimming. And he said, well, if you move over to Santa Clara Swim Club and go to high school there, I'll guarantee you'll go to a better college than if you stay here at HBA and get straight A's.
Yeah.
And I said, well, the A's are never going to happen. Let's go to Santa Clara. How do I do that? And he helped me, and I got over to Santa Clara and trained with Mark Spitz. But it wasn't Mark Spitz that gave me the tip. It was
Senior.
The senior helped me. Dad screamed at me at the dinner table one day. But there was a kid that was swimming backstroke that told me that my backstroke looked as bad as he'd ever seen. And rather than punch him, I decided to take a deep breath underwater, come back up, and I shared a question. I said, well, Mitch, you have the prettiest backstroke I've ever seen. What do I have to do to look like you? And he got excited, and he said, come on this pool deck, I'll show you. We had a 5-minute break between the 30 and 31st 100-yard repeat that we were doing, and we had 10 left to go. And he says, throw this towel at the pool deck. So I threw it down and it landed 6 feet away from my baby toe. And I said, what's wrong? He says, it's got to land at your baby toe and you've got to rotate your shoulders and drop your elbow behind your back and get it near your hip. I did all that, practiced. I could throw it within the 5 minutes. I was back in the pool swimming the last 10 in front of him. Now, he was the national high school champion. And on the 40th one, he challenged me to race because I had beaten him 9 in a row now.
Oh, wow.
And he renamed my mother. He said, Mother, someone race. And I raced him and I swam my fastest time I'd ever swam on the 40th repeat. And the coaches, oh my God, you're going to swim a dual meet with Mitch this weekend.
Yeah.
So I swam at the 100 back with Mitch Ivy and beat him and became the high school national champion overnight. And I was ranked maybe 50th in Hawaii, you know, coming from Hawaii, maybe ranked 50th at 57. Yeah. I think 57.6 was my time. And then now I swam 54 flat. And then coach says, I'm going to take you to the nationals. What's that? Where's that? He said, Dallas, Texas. And if I take you, I got to take Mitch and I got to take 5 other guys. So a bunch of us went to the nationals off our high school team. And the week before we went, Mark invited me over for dinner and was talking with his dad for a solid hour about winning 6 events. And his dad was kind of explaining, do the 2 short ones on one day and the longer one on the other day, because you can only enter 3 events. But he was saying he could win 6, and he's 16 now, and I'm 17, and I'm like, wow, this is my dream come true to be listening to this conversation. Finally, Mr. Spitz turns to me after half an hour, and he says, Fred, what are you swimming and how are you going to do? I was shocked. And, you know, being raised in Hawaii, you have a certain amount of humility. I was all kind of shame when I said, but I got kind of jacked up. I said, Mr. Spitz, I'm swimming the 100 back. Maybe if I can get a half a second faster, I could get a 3rd place in the nation. There was silence. He goes, what do you mean? I explained it again. I don't understand what you're saying, Fred. What are you saying? I explained it in detail, and I even moved my time 0.6 of a second faster, not 0.5. I said, I know he's getting at this. I got to go faster. I said, maybe if I go 0.6 of a faster, I might be able to get a 3rd place. And he goes, Fred, there's only one person in the pool that everyone's going to remember. And 2nd through 6th are all losers, and don't you ever forget it. And I kind of just, all shame at the dinner table, you know, from being a humble kind of a guy. My family would always make fun because I had 3 brothers and a sister. And if you were gloating about anything, the chops would come. Mr. Swimmer, whatever. But my dad had never seen me swim, but he supported me coming over. And here's Mr. Spitz screaming at me. So, you know, 3 days later, I had a dream that I won the national championship. I never even entered one. I'd never been qualified up to the week before.
Yeah.
I went down the nationals and swam a 2.5 faster and won the nationals. And it opened up 20, 30 full rides wherever I want to go.
Yeah.
So
I think I was writing down all the little lessons that you had inserted in these stories that you were sharing with us. So I'll do my nugget extraction right now.
Good.
You had mentioned it on the show. I forgot what the first part was, but you said get into curiosity.
Yes. You know, stay away from judging.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy gave you a tip. You were curious.
When that swimmer, he was #1 in the nation. He told me my backstroke was the worst backstroke he'd ever seen. And I was bobbing and weaving and hitting the lane lines. And that was his response after the 30th repeat. And I was, oh man, I wanted to punch him. But instead I went underwater, screamed underwater, came back up and told him what I wanted to tell him, which was he had a beautiful backstroke. What do I have to do to look like him? And I did that philosophy my whole life, even in real estate.
You were like,
and it has served you well.
Yeah, instead of like Instead of saying, what, you like beef? Instead, you said, tell me more about that. How can I make that change?
No, I just stroked him. You have the prettiest back stroke I've ever seen. What do I have to do to look like you?
There you
I'm
go.
so excited. And, I didn't know what would happen, but boom.
Yeah. So
anyway, I had the same thing kind of happen. I ran into Howard Brinton on a conversation in Maui. He was doing a seminar. He used to interview the top agents in the nation and put them on tapes.
Was it the Star Power?
Star Power.
Yes.
Yeah, and this was in I came back off my windsurfing career and started my real estate back up in '93, and this was probably '97. So I started to go to every Star Power conference, and actually by 2002, I was a Star Power star. I have a 45-minute interview with Howard Brinton, and Howard said, listen to my tapes and dialogues 1 hour a day, and I'll guarantee you exponential increase in your income. And that was a lot easier than training 4 hours a day with these swimmers or windsurfing like I was. So I went, oh, I'm all in. And I pulled my charge card out and dropped it on the floor, and it bounced, but it passed to buy all the tapes. So I just bought everything he'd said, and then I started listening, and I broke the reverse button in my car tape deck, and I would get up at 4:30 in the morning and listen till 8:30 in the morning before work. And man, I was bulleting all these lines that I thought I could never say this, But all of a sudden I became them, because once you use some good language and you're successful, you will own it, and you will modify it to your own means, So.
You're able to internalize.
It would, like the backstroke and like what you were saying in real estate, you made small changes that got you big results.
Big results.
Yeah, big results. So
small. A lot of it was right around that judgment stuff. When you're in a position of judging, that's when you can make life changes.
Yeah.
Because something's affecting you. It could be putting you down. It could be intimidating you. It could be turning you inward or something. Just go to curiosity with your feelings, and you can learn so much from your peers. Yeah. I always thought that I wanted to find the eagle's nest out there. Yeah. If I could go sit in the eagle nest, one day I could grow a feather or two, and pretty soon I could have some wings, and I'll never learn to soar until I get out there and start flying with them and make the banks that they make, and come back to the nest for more information. So
get out of that comfort zone and get into curiosity, and you can achieve anything.
I think what Mr. Spitz was telling you, that you got to speak what you want, because you were speaking third place, and he was telling you nobody's going to remember third place.
Yeah, I mean, I was a B- student.
Yeah.
Third place, good enough. But dude, I never thought about winning. I just wanted to go to a good college. It wasn't in my vocabulary.
Yeah. So speaking of college and vocabulary, you had applied for Stanford.
Oh,
Why don't you share with us how you almost didn't get in?
Oh yeah, the Dean of Admissions had an interview with me. He goes, "Oh, Fred, Coach says you can swim quite well, but I'm looking at your SAT scores, and you know what? Can you speak English?" I said, "I can speak English very well, sir. But the guys I went to go to school with, they never use the big kind word I went read on the SAT test. In the middle of the paragraph, get one long 15-letter word. I'm looking at that. I look around. Everybody still get their head down, but me, I don't know what to do. So I just go down to the bottom and answer any kind block." I said, "I have a vocabulary problem because I haven't read more than 5 or 6 books. I've been skating through classes, but I guarantee if you let me into Stanford, which is the dream of my life to come here, I will be out of your hair in 4 years without a problem."
Yes.
You
what you wanted.
I didn't have anything to counter his question but humor. So I threw the humor. I had him laughing Yeah, he was laughing a lot with me, and then he still remembers me. One of my friends knows him, and he goes, "Oh, I remember Fred's interview. That was fun."
You got to send him a copy of your book.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
Not only did I read more books, I wrote one.
Yeah. Well, I had a ghostwriter help me, but I had all the stories recorded, and you know, during COVID, I got hurt. I cross-stepped off of a curb and landed on my leg somehow. I twisted my ankle and tore all 3 hamstrings off my left pelvic bone. So I was writing this book from a hospital bed in the next room to me, with the author that helped me, and we aligned what we wanted to say in the story. Our greatest achievement was to hook the reader. You know, when you read a book, I hate books where I look cross-eyed after 5 pages and say, what did I just read?
Yes.
He said, this thing's got to start out with a bang. Let's go. You know, so
you do offer 1 chapter up on your website on racingwithaloha.com, so the reader can kind of get an idea of what there is to be expected in the book.
Yeah, there's free first 10 pages in Laird Hamilton's foreword. I was going to use Mark Spitz's foreword, but I liked Laird's better, and I thought it was more contemporary and a local boy. And so I said, I'm going to choose Laird, but Mark's a great guy, and he's had his share of accomplishments.
Yes.
But, you know, we all got to share the stoke and the aloha and the love and living life to the fullest. You know, when I came home from Stanford, I handed my dad back the checkbook because I had a joint account with his name and mom's name and my name. So everything I wrote, they could see, right? And I said, Dad, what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
He says, well, you'll never really know that. You just got to do what's interesting to you. Take it on and be the best you can be at it. And if you take your life and work towards being the best you can be, there are no regrets.
Yeah.
I said, you know, what happens after you do that? You get bored with that. You do what's next and be the best at whatever it is. If you're a garbage man or carpenter or whatever you want to be, just be the best and work your life that way. He says, look at me, I'm a successful doctor, but I always wanted to be a marine biologist. And I said, well, probably a little late now at 70 something, wherever he was back then. But yeah, basically, I never felt less than anything because I didn't have goals that I couldn't meet. If you put the goal of being the president of the United States, so that's a very lofty goal. But if your goal is to be the best politician you can be, you can meet that. And there's
attainable.
And I think I wanted to write a book to share the aloha with kids that they could read and be inspired and feel the stoke of doing whatever they're doing and just be the best at what they can do at the particular time. And don't do it in a taking or disingenuous way.
Yeah.
Be abundant about it and share the aloha and share what you're learning, because when you share tips or pearls, you know, that comes back tenfold.
Yeah. So, do we believe that givers gain?
Yeah. I mean, you guys are doing an incredible job here because you're promoting real estate on your podcasts.
Yes.
Radio and whatnot. And now that I've done 10 or 20 of them, I can see the power because of the electronic media is so powerful. There's always naysayers that'll take jabs at you, and the higher you fly, typically the bigger your rear end is to take shots at, but you just got to get used to that stuff. And if you're in aloha, there's no pot shots that you feel.
I thought my rear end was getting bigger with all the sweets I'm eating and the lack of exercise. But it's because I'm flying high.
Tell them those malasadas are for everyone to notice you more.
There you go. But I good words of wisdoms. We've heard so many of those things, and it's so interesting. You're mentioning all these things that you spent so much money on coaching and training and webinars, and you're just going boom, 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 boom through all those little life lessons.
Yeah.
And you put them all in your book.
In the book.
Right? With Racing with Aloha.
Yeah, and I feel good about it, and I don't think I've crossed any lines because I didn't use one swear word.
Okay.
And I never talked about all the derelict things going on around the periphery, but I just wanted to share good vibes. That was all.
Keeping it positive, good vibes and big waves.
Yeah,
right?
big waves.
I like that story about the big wave.
Yeah.
Big wave.
Got a little bit of everything in the book. And, a lot of my friends say they couldn't put it down once they started reading it, which made me chuckle because I was hoping that was my goal, was to make sure the book hooked. I'm a fisherman, so I wanted to hook you all.
Yeah.
You've done an excellent job on the website with all the resources, and any of our viewers, they can go take a look at it, racingwithaloha.com, and see for yourself.
Yeah, I learned at Chansum in real estate. We had to use technology. My first website, I think, was 96, and I started real estate in 1973, and there were 13 in my class, and I had to use Maui News Friday section to see what was happening and for sale because there's no MLS, and I would have to call.
Things have changed so much since you started in this industry.
Today,
and you think Redfin and Zillow are going to take it all over? I'm not sure, because this is the most expensive thing everyone involved is ever going to do, and they have to have hand-holding. You got to know some more stories and inside information that the old fart realtors have, or the experienced technocrats out there in real estate are just jamming it. It's great.
Well, I just came from an elderly couple that fell behind on mortgage payments. They got a nice house in Kuli'o'o. And number one, I can pronounce where their house is located, Kuli'o'o.
Every vowel, bro.
Exactly. If that word was on Wheel of Fortune, I have to borrow some money for all the vowels.
Yeah.
And, but you know what they appreciated? Us coming to their house and sitting down at their dining table and talking story with them and putting their minds at ease. And I'm sorry, the internet just cannot do that for human beings, in my opinion, just yet. You still need
real estate's a feeling business.
Yeah.
It's about how they feel, and if you hook into what your client is feeling in their space, like you did on the table. I was out showing some real estate last year, and I was on the beach on the other side of the island, and I just said, oh, well, how does this one feel? And I don't know. I don't like it, Fred. It's got the highway right behind it, and it has a little bit of an easement in front of the ocean front that state owned. I said, well, that doesn't feel good to me either. But the other one in Kuau with the palm tree laden in the front you can see 3 beaches. I said, man, that's the one that feels really good.
Yeah. And
they're going, yeah. So talk about what people are feeling when they're experiencing real estate, both in, solution-oriented talk and in encouraging offers.
Yeah. Because say that the emotions is what makes people act, right? Have the feelings, that emotion.
You guys got the stoke, you know what I mean? You already got the stoke, you got the team, you got the systems. Bam, you are probably turning a lot of real estate.
Well, I would tell people is like, we just serve a lot of people. We serve them with Aloha. And I this morning when I left the house, I said, Mrs. Nakamoto, how do you feel now? She goes, I feel a lot better.
Yeah.
And I says, we've been here before. We've seen stuff way worse than this situation. Everything's going to be okay. And sometimes people just need you to tell them that and believe
We'll
that
be
it is
right
going
there with them.
And
We're
that's
all
what I'm
working together. Yeah.
that's a signal I'm giving the kids that
Yeah.
they should feel okay about this scary world out in front of them.
Yeah.
And just don't worry about it. Just feel good about it.
When life asks you to achieve more than you think you're capable of, you know what they say on Maui? Shoots.
Good. Chantum, we go.
Go for broke, bro.
Yeah.
Don't hold back.
Mumbai, we go.
Mhm.
Chantum. I know, and they got the winter swells coming up. There's swell running right now, but me, I cannot do nothing because I'm hobbling around. It's gonna.
I know you got to take it out on a curb.
I know. A
You're on
curb
this
took me
huge
out.
wave, but you got to take it
Wasn't
out
one
on a curb.
big bugging wave. one small kind curb.
Well,
That's life. That's the irony of life,
Yeah.
But I got good attitude. I know, Cal.
Yeah, that's the key.
You'll
That's
be
what
back at it in no time.
One day.
Well, we as we tell our kids, at the peak of the fun, all things must come to an end. So we're going to wrap it up. Is there any? I think you had this question for like working with clients. We'll use it with you. Was there any question that we should have asked you that we haven't?
That would help me understand your situation better today. And put the last part of it because now you're showing compassion.
Yes.
I just am stoked to talk to you guys because you guys sell through Aloha, share Aloha, and have an Aloha's attitude. And props to you and what you're doing. I appreciate it very much. And thank you, everyone. But please come to my website, check it out. If you don't like it, it's okay. I don't care. Yeah. But there was a 99-cent ebook yesterday. So it could, I don't know if it's still there, but you might be able to get it for 99 cents. And if you're on Maui, just call me. I'll get you a signed copy at my house.
I think they should.
I would say that like attracts like. So we're so happy to have you here with us today and to share this racing with Aloha and a little bit about your story.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got to share the Aloha.
Share the Aloha.
Just like how Fred came sailing into our podcast, we're going to take you guys back out with our video of sailing. So stay with us for about another 30 seconds before we wrap it up.